Most people think owning a full Bitcoin is out of reach, but what if I told you just point bin Bitcoin could change your future? There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Break that into slices, and only 210 million people can ever own zero point 0.1. There are over 8 billion of us. Do the math. Even just 2.5% of the world trying to own 0.1 Bitcoin, and the supply runs out. And guess what? 94% of Bitcoin is already mined. A big chunk of it lost forever. Meanwhile, demand is exploding. Banks, funds, even countries are buying in. Why? Because Bitcoin can't be printed, can't be inflated, and can't be seized. In a world where your money loses value every year, Bitcoin is digital scarcity, global, unstoppable, and still early. Why 0.1 Bitcoin could make you wealthy? Gold was once the ultimate store of value, but today, a new contender is rising, invisible, digital, and capped at just 21 million units. And owning just 0.1 of it might be your ticket into the top 2% of the world. Most people think owning a full Bitcoin is out of reach, so they ignore it entirely. But that is a mistake, because one Bitcoin isn't the starting line, it's the finish line. And you don't need the whole thing to change your future. Just 0.1 Bitcoin, a single slice, might be enough to set you apart from billions. Let's do the math. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence, not one more. Break each into 10 slices and you get 210 million pieces of 0.1 Bitcoin. Sounds like a lot, until you realize there are over 8 billion people alive today. Even if just 2.5% of them tried to own 0.1 Bitcoin, it wouldn't be enough. Now think about the 120 million millionaires in the world. If each one wanted just one Bitcoin, forget it. Even 0.1, still not enough to go around. And that's before we count the institutions, the companies, the governments. As of mid-2025, over 94% of all Bitcoin has already been mined, and roughly 30% of that is lost, gone forever. What's left is mostly in the hands of long-term holders, hodlers, who aren't selling no matter the price. Meanwhile, demand is rising fast. In 2024, major asset managers launched Bitcoin ETFs, and the floodgates opened. Banks are offering custody, pension funds are allocating, sovereign wealth funds are buying in, countries like El Salvador are doubling down, others are watching closely. And still, less than 3% of the world owns any Bitcoin. That's the same adoption level the internet had in 1995. Before Google, before smartphones, before streaming. History shows us every major technology follows the same curve. First come the pioneers, then the early adopters, then the crowd. And right now, we're still early, but here's the twist. While adoption is still ramping up, the supply is almost gone, and demand isn't retail anymore. It's institutional. Once banks and governments go all in, everyday people will be left fighting over scraps. Bitcoin fixes what fiat money breaks, because today's currencies like the dollar, the euro, are built to lose value over time. Every new dollar printed makes yours worth less. Over the last 50 years, the US dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. Other currencies? Some collapsed completely. Not because people worked less, but because governments printed more. Fiat has no cap. Bitcoin does. Bitcoin can't be printed. It can't be inflated. Its supply is fixed forever. It's a sealed vault in a leaking system. This isn't just another investment. It's a hedge, a plan B, a monetary lifeboat. Yes, gold once played that role, but gold is slow, hard to divide, expensive to store. Bitcoin is different. You can send it across the world in seconds, store millions on a drive the size of your thumb, divide it into 100 million units. Gold grows by 1.5% a year. Bitcoin gets harder to get. Every 4 years, the block reward cuts in half. By 2032, new supply will be nearly zero. That's not speculation. That's code. And that code is turning Bitcoin into a new global standard. Already, it's the seventh most valuable asset on Earth, ahead of silver. And it did that in just 16 years. Now imagine where it could be in 10 more, when more countries adopt it, when more investors wake up, when fiat systems stretch to their breaking point. In a digital world, value doesn't need to shine, it needs to scale. Bitcoin isn't replacing gold, it's evolving past it. Even 0.1 Bitcoin might seem small, but when supply is fixed and demand is global, small becomes powerful. That slice could be like buying Manhattan before the skyscrapers. Right now, Bitcoin is a game of musical chairs. There are only 210 million seats, and more people enter the game every day. When the music stops, there's no printing, no bailout, no second round, only a scramble for what's left. And those already seated aren't getting up. In this game, timing beats size. The people who saw Amazon or Apple early didn't need millions, they just needed to act before everyone else. Bitcoin is that kind of moment. It's already being distributed block by block. The window is still open, but not for long. So the question isn't, should I buy Bitcoin? The real question is, how long can I afford to wait? Bitcoin is a digital asset with a fixed supply of 21 million units. Even owning just 0.1 Bitcoin could make you wealthier than 98% of the world. As adoption grows by individuals, institutions, and governments, demand is skyrocketing while supply is nearly gone. Over 94% of all Bitcoin has already been mined, and a large portion is lost or held tightly by long-term investors. Unlike fiat currency, which loses value over time due to inflation, Bitcoin is deflationary, decentralized, and globally transferable. It's not just an investment, it's a hedge against a broken system. We're still early, but the window is closing. In a world of unlimited money printing, Bitcoin offers something rare: true scarcity. The question isn't, should I buy Bitcoin? It's, how long can I afford to wait? Let me know if most people think owning a full Bitcoin is out of reach, but what if I told you just bin Bitcoin could change your future? There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Break that into slices, and only 210 million people can ever own 0.1. There are over 8 billion of us. Do the math. Even just 2.5% of the world trying to own 0.1 Bitcoin, and the supply runs out. And guess what? 94% of Bitcoin is already mined. A big chunk of it lost forever. Meanwhile, demand is exploding. Banks, funds, even countries are buying in. Why? Because Bitcoin can't be printed, can't be inflated, and can't be seized.